What's up, everyone? In this video, I'm going to be coming at you with another top 5 areas to live in, this time looking at it from the angle of top 5 areas in Northern Virginia to live in for young working professionals. Now, there's a reason so many young working professionals end up coming to Northern Virginia and DC as a major hub. Whether it be because they're working in Washington, DC on the Hill or for the government, they got some sort of different kind of job in this area, or they grew up here and they're actually ending up coming back to live here and work again. It is a big draw for young professionals. Having gone to JMU, I know a lot of my friends ended up going to that school and coming back to the area, as well as a lot of the JMU students who didn't grow up in this area got their first jobs in the Northern Virginia, DC area. And as a result, I wanted to cover what I think the top 5 areas are and what the pros and cons of each of those areas are. Coming in at number 5, I have Reston. Now, Reston's a pretty cool area that has a bunch of nice restaurants, coffee shops, and parks at Reston Town Center, which is the major hub for the area. It also has, from spring to fall, a popular farmers market that goes around, as well as some annual events like the Multicultural Festival. In the summer, you can enjoy the lake whether you're renting a canoe, a kayak, or pedal boats, which is an awesome thing to do with you or friends. And I personally know of a few friends who live there now who love to go bike riding on both the Washington and Dominion trails. Plus, as an added perk, it has a really good school district, so if you end up loving the area and staying there and having a family one day, that's another perk. The major negative of Reston is the commuting and metroing situation. Now, there is Wheelie Reston Station, which is a metro station there, but unlike some of the other ones I'm going to be covering in the top 5, it really isn't as much of a walkable commute to that metro station, which can be a big turnoff for people if they wanted that ease of walking in and out of the metro, as opposed to adding some driving into your commute. Coming in at number 4, I have Merrifield. Now, this is an area that 15 years ago wouldn't have been on anyone's radar, but I personally have this as the number 1 up-and-coming one on the list. There are 2 major draws that make it great for young working professionals. First of all, there's Tyson's Mall right next to it, which is an awesome spot and has been completely revamped, making it what I think is the best mall in Northern Virginia, and that adds a ton of different restaurants as well as stores that you can go to for shopping. And then it also has the Mosaic District, which I like to call a mini Arlington because of how it's set up. It kind of popped out of nowhere, and it has this little Arlington vibe where there's so many cool restaurants, there's a few bars, as well as different coffee shops and things like that, and it even has like a decent nightlife scene. Plus, compared to some of the other ones that are going to be on this list, it's much cheaper, and it still has decent metro access that'll let you get in and out of the city, although it is a little farther than some of the other ones I'm going to cover. Now, before I go into the top 3, I wanted to give one caveat. It would have been really easy just to set up this video and slap Arlington as the number 1 area to live in Northern Virginia for young working professionals and call it a video. That being said, Arlington is broken up into a bunch of different sections, and even though it's the main draw for most people, I wanted to get hyper local and tell you about the different sections of Arlington and rank those within it. So let me jump into the top 3. Coming in at number 3, I have Pentagon City in Arlington. Pentagon City is an awesome spot that has great metro access, is a short car ride into Washington, DC, and has a lot to offer. First of all, it has Pentagon City Mall, which brings with it a bunch of cool restaurants as well as stores and shopping that you can go to. Plus, it's a super short car ride away from Crystal City, which brings a whole nother round of restaurants, which I think are some of the best in Arlington, Virginia. And last but not least, it has a Costco there. And for those of you who know me, they know I can be kind of a nerd about Costco, but honestly, that's a huge factor if you want to add it to your shopping list. The biggest negative factor I have for Pentagon City is probably its nightlife. Although it does have bars and restaurants, they tend to close down pretty early on the nights and weekends, which means if you're wanting to go and have a nightlife experience, you're either going to have to head into Washington, DC, or go to different parts of Arlington. But then again, I did mention it has a Costco there, so that kind of makes up for it. Coming in at number 2, I have Clarendon. Now, of all the ones on this list, this by far has the best nightlife scene, and for a lot of young, recent grads coming out of college, that's going to be a big driving factor for you to be able to continue that experience that you've been having for the past 4 or more years. So that's something that is a huge draw to a lot of people in the area. Plus, on top of that, it does have really good restaurants in the area and great metro access that gets you in and out of DC, or if you're going into different parts of Virginia. Another perk is it has a good mixture of both apartments as well as houses, depending on what type of setup you'd want to have with you and your roommates. So that's another nice feature. But the one negative I will give to Clarendon is also kind of its positive, which is the nightlife scene. I know for a lot of people, if they're not looking for that type of experience, I have heard it can be a little overwhelming at times. So would be something you'd want to consider when you're trying to map out where you want to live and what the experience would be. And that brings me to the number 1 neighborhood on this list, which is Ballston and or Virginia Square. Even though these are 2 technically separate areas, the line between them is super gray, and honestly, I couldn't tell the difference between them unless you were looking at a map. The reason I chose this for number 1 is because I think it has the best balance of things and criteria that a young professional would be looking for. It has great restaurants and places to eat. It's a short ride to Clarendon, and honestly, you could even walk it if you wanted to. It's not too far from DC, and it has great metro access, where there's actually 2 metros within walking distance of each other. Plus, a lot of the places I've been into in that area where you can live have some really cool locations, and near there are some parks as well as tennis courts, which allow you to kind of maintain an active lifestyle as a young working professional. To be completely honest, there aren't too many negatives that I could even think of for this area, so to me, it was the clear-cut number 1. As someone who grew up in the area and has seen a lot of these locations shift over time, as well as a real estate agent that's seeing what people are looking for and like and don't like, this is the list of the top 5 I came up with. However, if you think you know of a spot I might have missed, feel free to comment in the section and add that to the list and see what other people are thinking. And who knows, as a realtor, if you're thinking about buying or renting in the area, feel free to hit me up and we can check out some of these spots together. As I mentioned, I also did another top 5 areas to live in, that time covering what I think the top 5 waterfront areas are in Northern Virginia, which you can check that video out up here. I hope you found this video helpful. Make sure to like the video as well as subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with other videos I put out on real estate or the home buying process in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time.